right, this is Miss Metzger. I am doing a preview game so that I can finish up what we started essentially. So I'm going to skip through to the slide that we were on, which was we just finished number 18. So let me get to that point, and then we're going to work through the rest of our notes. I'm just skipping. I'm playing as myself as a student. So we're going to have a little bit of a mock experience. Just while I'm skipping forward, make sure that while you are doing the Kahoot, you need to be answering the questions. That's how it logs that you are participating. If you sign in and don't do anything, then it's not going to show me any participation from you. It'll just say not answered. So make sure you're doing that. If you're having any technical issues or anything like that, you can write this stuff on a piece of paper while you're going. If it's not letting you for some reason, submit it. And you could email that to me directly after class or inbox it to me. But you definitely need to have participation to get your points for the day. So just wanted to throw that out there as a reminder. All right, so we were on, this was the last one we did together. We converted that percentage to a fraction. So we're going to be moving into slide 19. Okay, I know I have 0 points so far. I'm doing great. So we're going to be doing convert a decimal to a fraction. So this is just based on what place value it falls in. So when I look at this, we are talking about, it says write the digits, leave out any zeros immediately to the right of the decimal over the place value and reduce. So 0.057 is in the thousandth place. That's the last digit. So we would write that as 57 thousandths or 57 over 1,000. Okay. So then when we look at our next one, we have this is 4.14, but that's in the hundredth place, hundredth. So 10th hundredth. So we would write that as 14 over 100. And then we ask if it reduces. This one did not reduce, but 14 over 100 are both divisible by 2. So that would be 7 out of 50. So that would be the answer for that one. And then 0.124 is in the thousandth place for the last digit. So that'd be 124 over 1,000. And we can reduce that by 2 for sure, but we might also be able to reduce it by 4. So you should always see if there's a bigger number you can reduce it by. So if I pull up my calculator, get off the pen for a second. 124 is divisible by 4. It'd be 31. 1,000, is that also divisible by 4? That'd be 250. So 31 over 250. And that should be in reduced form because 31 has no numbers that go into it. So there are 2 examples of how to take a decimal and write it as a fraction. Okay, so let's do one together as a group. Essentially, this is just me pretending I'm you guys. 0.002, and that's in the thousandth place. So that would be 2 over 1,000. That would be the original answer. But then I'm supposed to reduce it. So I can't pick 2 over 1,000 because that wouldn't be reduced. These are both divisible by 2. So that would be 1 over 500. So it should be the blue diamond. Okay, and we are correct. So let's move to the next slide. I got some points. Good for me. All right, so now we're in the 1A.2. So sorry, I'd forgotten that last little slide was part of 1A.1. So now we're going to be talking about writing ratios and using those ratios in applications. So ratios are comparisons of relative size of 2 quantities. They can be written in a variety of ways. 4 to 5 using a colon. That's how we would read that. Actually writing the word 2, 4 to 5, and then 4 over 5. Now, typically the Newton homework has you write it a lot of times as a fraction, so just be aware of that. 0.8 when written as a decimal is per 1. So this case would be 0.8 per 1. So anytime you have, you divide this, you do your numerator divided by your denominator, you have a per 1 or a unit ratio. Okay, so let's look at this example. A survey of 4,200 dentists about their preferred toothpaste found that 3,600 preferred Crest. Write the ratio. Now, this is important. The order matters. So it's prefers Crest to all dentists, okay? So as a fraction in simplified form. So the ones who preferred Crest were 3,600. All dentists that they surveyed was 4,200. We want to reduce that. Now they both end in 2 zeros, so you can go ahead and divide by 100 on each of them, or just think about the zeros canceling out in a pair each time. And then we can reduce this a little further. Those are both divisible by 6. So, and again, you could use your calculator to help you with this. 36 divided by 6 is 6. 42 divided by 6 is 7. So the ratio reduced for Crest to all dentists is 6 out of 7. So now you know how they get those numbers on those commercials. So 6 out of 7 dentists agree. As a decimal rounded to the hundredths place. So we now need our calculator. We're going to do numerator divided by denominator. So 6 divided by 7. And we're going to round to the hundredths. That's 2 places after the decimal. So 0.85, and then the 7 will bump the 5 up. So 0.86. So this is approximately 0.86. As a percentage, then we can move that decimal 2 places to the right. And that would be approximately, because again, we rounded this answer, 86%. Okay, let's try one. Moving to the next slide. Find the patient's ratio of total cholesterol to HDL using the given information. Answer in a simplified fraction. So we're going to have a problem pop up here in just a second. So we want to do total to HDL. So we're actually putting the total first because they said total to HDL. So total is 232. HDL is 68. We would reduce that. I know they're both divisible by 2. So let's see. 232 divided by 2 is 116. Maybe they're divisible by 4. Check that. 232 divided by 4. Yep, that's 58. 68 divided by 4, 17. So it's 58 over 17, which is the blue answer. I almost ran out of my own time. All right, so let's look at our next piece. All right, we're in. So that was all of 1A.2. It's a pretty short section. You're just practicing writing those ratios and reducing them. Now, a rate is a comparison of two quantities which can have different units. So ratios, the units had to be the same, whereas rates, they don't. But we would then have to put some kind of wordage after it, telling people what is the numerator and what is the denominator. For example, 15 miles per 6 hours, we can reduce that as 15 over 6, which reduces down to 5 halves. But we need to tell people it's miles per hour, which means the miles is the top number and the bottom number is the per is divide. So hours is 2. So this is 5 miles per 2 hours, but written as a fraction. So we have 12 cups for 8 people. So we're going to reduce that. So we have 12 over 8, which is going to reduce by 4. So that's going to be 3 halves. And that would be cups per person. Or per people, if you want to say it that way. So 3 cups per 2 people. Now we have 32 eggs over 12 servings. Those are both divisible by 4. So that's going to be 8/3 eggs per serving. I'm running out of room, so I'll write that abbreviated. So 8/3 eggs per serving. A unit ratio or unit rate has a denominator of 1. So this is like when you go to the store and you're like, which item is the better deal? So, sometimes I go to Costco and they have items in bulk. I want to know which one's the better deal for me to buy. So a unit price is a ratio of cost per one individual item. So what you do is you put your dollar amount over your number of items that you're getting. So 15 yards for 6 dresses. So they're just doing unit rates without money this time. So yards per dresses, we do 15 divided by 6. So you're going to have to do that on your calculator. We're rounding to the nearest tenth according to our directions. So 15 divided by 6 is 2.5. That's already rounded to the nearest tenth because it's terminating. So this would be 2.5 yards needed per one dress. So we don't say you don't say per one dress, but that's what that implies. And then the 38 eggs per 12 chickens. They want us to do eggs per chicken. So 38 divided by 12. Notice we're gonna have to round this one. This is approximately 3.2 if we go to the nearest tenth. So 3.2 eggs per one chicken. Now, in the real world, a chicken can't lay a part of an egg, but we're just getting these as straight division. Okay. All right, let's clear the ink. Next slide. We're going to try one. So find the unit price, round to the nearest cent as needed. So we've got $2.90 for 15 bananas. So it's how much money per one banana. So we're doing money divided by number of bananas. So 2.9 divided by 15 and rounding to the nearest cent. So that means 2 decimal places because money usually goes to 2. So 0.19 is followed by a 3. So that'll stay a 0.19. So it's going to be that 0.19 cents. All right. Okay, on this one, we want to pick the better deal. So we're going to drag our pen to pick the better deal. So we have to do both of them to know that. So let's get our calculator ready. Okay, so we've got $5.99. I'm still doing the money on top because you want to know money per how many one item. And it's 3 boxes. So that's $1.99. Well, it'd be $2 exactly because the 6 is going to bump up the 9 to a 10. And then that bumps this next one up to a 10, and that bumps that up to a 2 then. It's that rolling 9. So this one is $2 per box. Let's find the other one real quick. 22 divided by 10 is 2.2. So that's $2.20. Let me go ahead and drag my thing first. So when you do one of these with me, you drag the pen to make sure it's in the area for the box that you want to answer and submit that. And that one is correct. So I did want to write that this one was $2.20 per box, which was not a better deal. Even though you got more boxes, you'd be better off buying more of the groups that are smaller. Okay, so we're almost done with this section of notes. I believe we just have some conversions with measurements, some ratios. So let's look at this next part. It says write the ratio of 12.6 to 9 as a fraction in reduced form. Now, when you write that, that's a decimal. So unfortunately, that's not supposed to show up in our fraction. So if we have this, you don't want to divide this and make it even worse. We want to actually leave it as a fraction. So you can move the number of decimal places you need on top to create a whole number. So that would be moving that one place to the right, as long as you do the same thing on the bottom. So that would be now 90. You have to add a 0 there. So that's how you fix that. Then you would see if you can reduce the fraction. Okay. So like that would reduce, yeah, it looks like it reduces by something. I used the calculator. So it's 7 over 5 is what 126 over 90 reduces to. So let's look at this one. So this would be 4 to 1.28. Now we have that decimal. So we're going to move that 2 places to the right to make it a whole number. We need to do the same thing on top. So we'll have to add 2 zeros. So we have 400 over 128. And we will need our calculator for this one. I believe they're both divisible by 4, but possibly something bigger. So 400 divided by 4 is 100. 128 divided by 4 is 32. So yeah, they're divisible maybe by 16. Let's check that. That'd be 25 over 8. That'll work. So we're going to divide both of these by 16. And this is where I said having that calculator that does some of that reducing for you is very helpful. So this was 25 over 16, I believe is what we ended up getting. Or no, 8. 25 over 8. Talked too much and forgot. We were dividing by 16. So 25/8. This one we have 5.6 to 3.24. We would need to move the decimal 2 places to the right to completely clear that to a whole number. So we do the same thing on top. So this is 560 over 324. Those are definitely both going to be divisible by something. I'm guessing maybe 8. Nope, maybe just 4. So we divide the bottom by 4, we get 81. Divide the top by 4, we get 140. So if I divide them both by 4, I get 140 over 81. Just need to double check that no numbers that go into 81 also go into 140. 81 is divisible by 3 and 27. So 140 divisible by 27 does not work. 140 divisible by 3 does not work. 81 is also divisible by 9. It's 9 times 9. So 140 divided by 9 is not working either. So we don't get even answers, so they're not divisible. So this is as far as this one can go. So that's something you really want to practice with your calculators, making sure you know how to reduce fractions. Okay, so let's look at our slide. Now, this is a little different. These ones were in the homework, so I wanted to talk about them. You use this conversion because the problem is you can't compare feet to inches. They have to both be the same. So convert the bigger unit down to the smaller one. So if 10 feet is 12 inches for every foot, we would do 10 times 12. It's 120 inches. Okay. So now we're doing 120 inches over 690 inches. Now they're in the same unit. You can drop the 0 by dividing by 10 on top and bottom. And then let's see, 12 and 69 are both divisible by 3. That's going to be 4 over 23. So I believe that should be the correct answer. Sorry if you can't see what I was writing there. So it's 4 divided by 23. Okay, so we got that one correct. I think I have 2 more of these, and that's it for the notes, just the practicing converting between the units. All right, so this next one we have, again, 1 foot is 12 inches, 3 feet is a yard. Take the bigger measurements because inches is smallest, feet is middle, and yards is the largest. So we have feet and inches. So I'm going to be converting feet down to the inches because that'll make our numbers work out. So we're going to times this by the 12 inches per foot. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So 18 times, not divided, times 12 is 216. So we have 216. I'm trying to get my pen back. So 216. Okay, so that's in inches. So 216 inches over 180 inches. We can't divide or drop the 0 this time because they don't both have it. So are they divisible by 4 maybe? That would be 54. I'm just going to partially reduce if this isn't all the way. We divide 180 by 4. Does that work? That'd be 45. Oh, and I see another way to reduce this. Sometimes just partially reducing will help you. These are both divisible by 9. That would be 6, and that would be 5. So it's 6 over 5. So 216 was what we got when we converted the 18 feet into inches. Then we put the inches over the other inches, reduced down by 4, and then saw that it reduced again by 9. And then our last example is another one of these, but I think this one has yards. So we have 75 feet of landscape timber to 28 yards. So yeah, we're going to convert the yards. That's the bigger unit of measurement. We're going to convert that to the feet. Now yards is 3 feet per yard. So we're going to times this by 3. So we need to know what 28 times 3 is, which is 84. And then we're putting 75 to the 84. And don't know if that reduces, unless they're both divisible by 3. That's the only thing that I could think of, which they are. 75 divided by 3, or 75 divided by 3, it should be 25. I just didn't type it in right. And then this one was 28. So yeah, so it's 25 over 28. All right, now that finishes out the 1A.2 and 1A.3 notes. You have everything you need now to get through the first 3 homeworks, which is all that's due by Thursday. And then this was just a question I had for y'all. How ready do you feel to attack your homework for those sections? And I'm gonna answer a 5 for me, but it's obviously however y'all feel. So make sure that you watch the video for the before class part. Remember the WWW assignment. It'll be better for you if you watch it before we have class on Wednesday. But remember the notes for that is not due until Friday. You do not have to turn in notes for this part, what we just did here. This was just finishing up our regular class notes. So the only video notes you turn in each week are the ones that are in the video assignment. Okay? Have a wonderful afternoon.